Good morning. I am Councillor Mary Locke and will be chairing this hearing of Subcommittee C of the Licensing and Public Protection Committee of Birmingham City Council. Before we start, can you all please mute your microphones for the moment in order to improve the sound quality while I outline the procedure. Can you also please turn off your cameras with the exception of committee members unless you are the person speaking. This is to reduce bandwidth. Committee members will have their cameras switched on throughout the hearing. Could everyone attending today's meeting please put their mobile phones on silent and ensure they are situated in a room or environment which is free from distractions or unnecessary noise emanating from radios, TVs, etc. Thank you. I am speaking slowly and clearly so everyone can follow me. It is vitally important for what I hope are obvious reasons that those attending the meeting and making representations are able to hear me and the members of my subcommittee and officers. Any distractions brought to my attention could result in the meeting being suspended temporarily or to another date and time under the regulations for these types of meetings. I also confirm that this is a public meeting and therefore being live streamed on the Council's website in order that the general public can view it. It will be broadcast subsequently on the Council's YouTube site. And members of the press or public may record and take photographs except where there are confidential or exempt items. Members are reminded that they must declare all relevant pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests arising from any business to be discussed at this meeting. If a disclosure of pecuniary interest is declared, a member must not speak or take part in that agenda item. Any declarations will be recorded in the minutes of the meeting. Apologies and notification of nominee members. Apologies were submitted on behalf of Councillor Nikki Brennan and Councillor Martin Straker-Wells was nominated substitute member. Now we wish to confirm the minutes, to confirm and sign the minutes of the meeting held on the 8th of October 2021 at 10 o'clock. Are they confirmed? To confirm and sign the minutes of the meeting held on the 23rd of February 2022 at 10 a.m. Confirmed. To confirm and sign the minutes of the meeting held on the 23rd of February at 12 o'clock. Agreed. And to confirm and sign the minutes of the meeting held on the 16th of March at 10 o'clock. Great. Can I welcome you to this hearing for a review application in respect of the licence for Booze Burst 321 to 323 Fox Hollies Road, Acox Green, Birmingham, B27 7PS. I'll begin with some introductions. My name is Councillor Mary Locke and I am chairing this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. With me are other members of the subcommittee. Councillor Martin Straker-Wells and Councillor Mike Ward. Also present in this meeting are the following officers. Licensing Officer David Kennedy.
Morning, Chair.
Committee Manager Katie Townend.
Good morning, Chair.
And Committee Lawyer Joanne Swampalai.
Good morning, Chair.
Could I ask all parties to identify themselves? Firstly, the applicant. Chris.
Good morning, Chair, Councillors. Chris Jones, West Midlands Police Licensing Team.
Thank you. Next, those making representations. Gary Callaghan.
Gary Callaghan, Licensing Enforcement Chair.
Thank you. On behalf of the premises licensing holder, Duncan Craig.
Good morning, Chair. I think, yeah, am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Good morning. I'm the only one brave enough to put my camera on. Hello, everybody. I'm here with the licence holder who sits at the end there. Can you see him?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've also got my temporary assistant, Ben, who's got, what, 3 more weeks to go? 3 more weeks. So there's 3 of us in the room. Thank you.
Could I ask if any persons making representation wishes to withdraw their representations at this stage of the hearing?
Chair, it's no from West Midlands Police.
Okay.
No, Chair.
Oh. No. I will assume that all parties have read and understood the Licensing Committee's procedural rules and which were sent out with the notice of today's hearing. Please note that given the nature of today's proceeding, I may at my discretion amend the procedural rules to reflect the fact that this meeting is taking place online, but wish to assure you all that any such amendments will not impact on the parties' right to a fair hearing. We will be using the chat function in Microsoft Teams to communicate. One of the icons on your toolbar is a speech bubble. Click the speech bubble to go into the chat. If you do not have access to chat function for any reason, please use the raise your hand function to indicate you wish to speak. The button is usually fourth from the right on the toolbar. You can also, of course, indicate verbally that you wish to speak at the appropriate time. Can you all confirm that you have access to chat facility by typing your own name? Officers will also type the job title. The meeting will not proceed until you have all done so.
That's everyone, Chair.
Right. Please keep the chat column open for the entire duration of the meeting in order that everyone can follow the messages being posted in the chat. If any participant has dialed in on an audio telephone rather than Microsoft Teams, please speak now to confirm you can hear and be heard. With the exception of subcommittee members, please keep your camera off unless you are the person speaking. If there are problems with bandwidth which cause difficulties with sound, I may at my discretion ask everyone to turn their cameras off in order that the meeting can proceed with everyone able to hear and to be heard. Does anyone wish to make any preliminary points at this stage? If so, please indicate that you wish to raise a point by typing speak into the chat function or by using the raise a hand function now. Chris Jones.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, after consultation with Mr. Craig, we find ourselves in an agreed position at the moment. That position being the removal of the current DPS and also the premises adopting the conditions submitted by Mr. Craig either yesterday or early today. The main one of those conditions for West Midlands Police would be the named people on condition 1 under general have no involvement in the management or operation of the business.
So,
Chair, Chair,
yeah.
just for completeness, just to confirm that is an agreed position. I don't know if Mr. Callahan wants to comment on that, but certainly that's my understanding. It's agreed between all the parties. By the way, that doesn't mean you've still got discretion, obviously, Chair, as a subcommittee, but we're just letting you know what the position is between the parties.
Okay. Mr. Callahan, did you?
Yeah, that's correct, Chair. Mr. Craig has been in contact with myself and PC Jones, and that is the way it stands at the moment. The conditions have been agreed. The removal of the staff member that was causing the problems and the removal of the DPS has been agreed as well. And the conditions proposed have been accepted.
Right. Joanne, can I ask advice?
Yes, Chair. I think David Kennedy should give the report as usual,
Yeah.
and then we can continue with the meeting.
Right. Okay, thank you, Joanne. Thank you. I'll briefly now outline proceedings which will follow at today's hearing. David Kennedy to report the licensing officer to report.
Okay, thank you, Chair. West Midlands Police applied on the 22nd of February for a review of the premises licence granted to Mr. Gullum Paswell in respect of Booze Burst 321 to 323 Fox Hollies Road, Acox Green, Birmingham, B27 7PS. The purpose of the report is to consider the review application and representations received and to determine this matter. Representation has been received from Birmingham City Council's licensing enforcement, which is attached at Appendix 1. The review application is at Appendix 2, and the current premises licence is at Appendix 3. Site location plans are attached at Appendix 4. West Midlands Police have submitted a supplementary evidence bundle, which is contained between pages 43 to 68 of the published agenda pack. Last night, the licence holder's legal representative submitted a set of proposed conditions, which, having been served on all parties in advance of the hearing, were disclosed to members this morning and which are contained between pages 69 and 71 of the published agenda pack. When carrying out its licensing of functions, a licensing authority must have regard to Birmingham City Council's statement of licensing policy and the guidance issued by the Secretary of State under Section 182 of the Act. The licensing authority is also required to take such steps as it considers appropriate to promote the four licensing objectives. The options available to the committee today are to modify the conditions of licence, exclude a licensable activity from the scope of the licence, remove the designated premises supervisor, suspend the licence for a period not exceeding 3 months, revoke the licence or take no action. Where the authority takes a step to modify conditions or exclude a licensable activity, it may provide that such modification or exclusion is to have effect for only such period not exceeding 3 months as it may specify. Thank you, Chair. As you'll have heard, members will have been advised by all parties present that there appears to be an agreed position. However, clearly it's still for the committee to consider the review application, the representations received, and to determine the matter in line with the options that I've confirmed to the members a moment ago. Thank you, Chair.
Well, in light of all the evidence that's been brought forward earlier on, I think the committee will go and make its decision. Okay. Or does any of the committee want to raise any points or ask any questions?
Chair, just a quick question from me. Are we going to hear from the different parties before we make a decision?
Well, if I may answer that, perhaps it might be. But I'm perfectly content to perhaps give some background to how this review came about, the narrative behind that, and then how agreement's been reached between the parties and what the reasoning is for that. And then obviously, if either of my colleagues then have any comment on that, clearly, if you want to present this, Councillor Straker-Wells, if you want this to be presented as a normal review, we can do that. Obviously, we're conscious of time. We've got an agreed position. It's a matter for you. It's a matter for you as a subcommittee how you want this hearing to be conducted. But I'm more than content to just give you a brief overview if that would assist. As long as my colleagues, as long as Mr. Jones and Mr. Callaghan are content with that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chair. I'm just asking advice on procedure and whether, in fact, we are in order to make a decision on the basis of what we've seen and heard so far, or whether in fact presentations would be in order. But I mean, perhaps Joanne might be able to help us. I don't know.
Yes, it's entirely down to you, Councillor Straker-Wells. If you feel that you would like it to be presented in the normal manner, you can. Alternatively, you may feel that because there's been agreement and you've also seen the documents this morning, you might find that satisfactory, but it's entirely up to you.
Do you feel, Councillor Ward?
Yeah, on consideration, I'd like to seek a response from both Gary Callaghan and Chris Jones. If I understand things correctly, the agreed position is that the premises licence holder remains, and if that is the case, I'd like to seek an assurance from Gary and from Chris that they have confidence that the licence holder will appoint a premises supervisor who is competent and ensure that the people who are appointed to staff these premises, do they have confidence that the licence holder will appoint proper people?
Councillor, thank you for that. It's Chris from West Midlands Police. Councillor, we're here today because West Midlands Police have concerns about the lack of management of these premises over a prolonged period of time, in fact a number of years, and the fact that the two members of staff employed within the premises both were the brothers of the DPS and premises licence holder, were taking advantage of the lack of management and the fact that the current DPS has a full-time job and didn't spend an awful lot of time physically at the premises managing the premises. With the removal of the DPS and the new DPS being appointed, that management of the premises should and hopefully will improve the way the premises is controlled. Obviously, any DPS that's appointed, the application is sent to West Midlands Police as a matter of course under the Licensing Act, and we will be able to have a say. And obviously, if we disagree with any appointment, we can bring you back to yourselves as a committee. The fact that the first condition, as I mentioned, names the current DPSs and premises licence holders two brothers who seem to be the main source of employment and were there when things were going awry, shall we say. That condition states that neither shall have any involvement or management or operation of the business. So that also cuts the fact that they're out, and any members of staff employed will be under the management of the new DPS and not the previous people that were employed there. So the answer to your questions, the agreed position does allay the fears of West Midlands Police and the operation of the premises at this time.
Will the DPS work in the premises at all?
Well, Councillor, the current DPS, in the opinion of West Midlands Police, had little or no management of the premises, and in fact, this is where the issues have come from. With the agreed position that the current DPS be removed and a new one put in place, that would negate the fact that the current DPS has little or no management at the premises.
Yeah, can I see Gary Callaghan's confirmation, please, that he is confident that the premises licence holder will take the necessary actions to ensure that the licensing principles are followed.
Yes, members, my understanding, I think it's only the police that can object to a DPS variation. I don't think the local authority have any say in who they put forward. And obviously you've heard from Chris Jones that they've got concerns regarding the proposed DPS, who I understand is just taking his personal licence course at the moment. To give the members a bit of confidence, myself and a colleague did a recent Licensing Act inspection on the 8th of April at the premises, when there was an issue at first with them producing the full premises licence. However, that was later produced. It was found in some paperwork under the counter. And the only other thing that was wrong at the time was there's a notice not displayed asking no sales of alcohol to persons under 18 years of age will be displayed. But that was the only other thing that was wrong. So I think they have tried to put their act together, and I think it is acceptable, to be fair. But obviously there's no guarantees. You have to take it on trust.
Thank you, Chair. I've no further questions.
Councillor Ward, would you like me to respond to that as well? Would that assist?
No, I was just concerned that the people are making the objections. The people who were involved in initiating this review. I was just wanted some comfort from them.
Okay, well, all I will say in broad terms, I think it's fair to say I enjoy a close working relationship with West Midlands Police, and I will speak to them about any proposed DPS before the application goes in, if that assists.
Yeah, no further questions.
Thank you.
Councillor Striker-Wells.
Thank you, Chair, and also thank you to my colleague Councillor Ward for clarifying an issue which I think does need clarification, which is really about the extent to which the conditions which have been agreed nevertheless are have a resulting confidence from all of the people involved to ensure that everything proceeds according to the licensing objectives. If both of those are saying that they have confidence in the conditions and the confidence in the way in which the conditions will shake out, then I'm very happy to accept that without any further questions.
Could I just, this is for the benefit, I think, of Mr. Kennedy more than anybody else. If you are minded to follow the agreed position, and obviously Mr. Callaghan or Mr. Jones can obviously comment on this as they see fit, but it would be proposed that those conditions that have been sent through would substitute the existing conditions, because they duplicate what's in there. They're just more exacting, they're more precise, they're more enforceable. So, for example, there's a Challenge 25 condition already in there, but it's the conditions in there are worded in a way that's quite woolly presently. So obviously, Mr. Kennedy, it's a matter for him really, but that would be the proposal, in order that there aren't two Challenge 25 conditions and two refusals book conditions, because nobody wants that. People need to know where they stand on both ends. So I just make that administrative point, I guess, now. I take it you've got that, Mr. Kennedy, have you?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Craig. Yeah, obviously, if the committee are minded just to impose the proposed conditions, then we'll compare those against the existing conditions and remove anything that's duplicate.
Great, thank you very much.
Councillor Ward and Councillor Striker-Wells, are you both happy that we consider now, in light of the evidence that's come forward, to go in and make a decision now, or would you like to proceed further?
Could I just check? Oh, sorry.
I'm happy that we make a decision now.
And could I just check, Chair? This would be in private session.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'll now ask, with that, I will ask all parties to leave the Microsoft Teams meeting, and the members, the committee lawyer and committee manager, will go into private session while the subcommittee will make its decision. You will be notified of the decision of the subcommittee within 5 working days. Thank you.